Hello. Right, so podcast episode today is about acceptance and how acceptance doesn't mean that you're quitting. Okay, so and this is all based around having a chronic illness or chronic disease. And my name's Cheryl. I'm trained as a nutritional therapist and a yoga teacher. I am diagnosed with chronic illnesses. And that's kind of what led me into becoming very interested in nutrition and in and exercise, mainly really using yoga and using nutritional therapy, which kind of involves like food and supplements and lifestyle changes and that sort of thing. So anyway, I am talking about this based on a post that I have published on Substack called Finding Strength in Acceptance. And what I'll do, I'll put a description to that post. I'll put a link to that post in the description. So if you wish to, you can go and have a look at that. You can read or listen to it, and also read and listen to other things that I've put over there. Okay, so and so this post, it kind of originated because of a quote that I saw from Michael J. Fox. And the quote, he says, "Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding that something is what it is and that there's got to be a way through it." Okay, so that's the quote. And I think the big part of it is, for me, and for why I'm kind of talking today as well, is that word resignation. Because usually when we hear of that word, it's usually a nice way of saying quitting. It means that we are quitting something. And that's what he's saying, to accept. Because usually if we're accepting something, it's usually like we're saying, well, that's what it is. I'll just carry on with my way. I'm not going to make any change. And I don't think you need to accept things. You don't need to accept that there's nothing that you can do. Sometimes when you're diagnosed, and I mean, I'm talking very honestly, because even though I'm a nutritional therapist, I'm a yoga teacher, and a lot of people probably go on platforms and will say how they've done yoga or they've done nutrition and it's been their be all and end all, and everything's been fantastic and it's rainbows and unicorns and stuff, and they never, I don't know, sometimes I feel some people don't really say like that they're still having hard times. Sometimes they may have used these things as a way of healing themselves, but then they make it seem like everything's so glorious and fantastic. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't put myself in a category of suffering, and I have done these things that have helped me, that have healed me, but there's still things that have come along the way, and I still have bad days at times. I have a lot of good, but there are still times where things are not that great, and the last few months have been quite difficult for me because I've had issues with my spine, slipped discs, 2 in my neck and 2 in my lower back, and it's caused quite a lot of discomfort these last few months. Been quite frightening at times, and it's caused me to have to stop doing one of the things. Well, first, I'm starting to get back into it now, but it caused me to stop doing the one thing that I love, which is yoga. It caused me to stop doing one thing that I was enjoying, which was going to the gym, because I started going to the gym for quite some time. I was really enjoying it, but it stopped me from doing that. And so even though these things are fantastic and they can help, there are times when you have bad times when these things are not really going to help very much, or there's periods of times where you can't do the things that you were doing before quite easily, because you've just had a bit of a knock, and then you've just got to try and get yourself back up. But the way you get yourself back up is probably not in doing the things to the extent that you were doing it before. Hope that makes sense, So it doesn't mean that you have to accept that this is what it is, because I went through a phase, and I'll be honest with you, a couple of months ago, because my left leg, I couldn't move it. And then you start thinking, oh my God, is this what it's going to be? Am I ever going to be able to do this? Am I ever going to be able to do that? And I've had to have a bit of hope, really, and that hope has helped. And I'm now back up and walking, where 3 months ago, no, I wasn't walking. I couldn't move my leg. I was having a lot of difficulties with it. So anyway, let me get back on track. So resignation can look like this is about quitting, and sometimes acceptance can look like it's about quitting and giving up. I had those thoughts in my head some months ago where I thought, well, that's it. Where are we going to go from here? That's it. I can't move my leg. I can't do this. I'm having pain in my back. I'm having all these nerve issues. Like, that is it. And but like, I'm not very good with that. I'm not very good at saying that's it, because in my mind there's always a way. There's always a way. There's always something that I can do to try and make things better for myself. And I've done things like that with everything. When I was diagnosed with PCOS in my 20s, I thought, well, I'm not going to I'm not going to allow this thing to change change my life. There's got to be a way of getting these symptoms to lower my symptoms. And I found a way, which was doing nutrition and yoga. Then when I was diagnosed with my autoimmune disease in my 30s, so seems to be a pattern here, in my 30s, again, I thought, well, I'm not going to let this thing beat me. I've done it once before, and there's got to be a way. And I found a way through looking at and by then, I was trained as a nutritional therapist, so I knew some of the things that I could be doing. I knew that I had to make some changes to the way that I was practicing yoga. But it was like, no, I'm not going to let these things rule me. There's got to be a way to make things easier. And I'm very proud of myself to say that I don't take any medications for PCOS or for Graves' disease. I mean, Graves' disease is the biggie because, when I tend to, if you suffer from a thyroid condition, usually you have to go and have these blood tests every so often, and they have to check your levels. Or if you get seen by somebody in health, and they'll they usually ask me, so your Graves' disease, do you take medications? And it's like, usually, no, I don't take any medications, because I believe that I'm controlling it by what I do, by my movement, my mind, and what I put into my body. So I've been able to manage that disease, and that was because I had to tell myself, there's a way. There is a way. I'm not going to accept that this is what it is. There's a way that I will get through this. So I'm doing it again now that I've got all these issues going on with my spine, and I'm being totally honest, because like I said, I think there's a lot of people in health that may be suggesting these things, and it may seem like their life is just fantastic and wonderful, but I'm sharing with honesty, and I'm being honest to say that, look, I have struggles, and I've been having struggles for the past few months, and yeah, I have struggles as well. But now my mind is saying, no, come on, there's a way through this thing, and I'm doing things now to help me through this disease, this chronic disease, and I'm moving now. I've got movement back in both legs. I can move my arms. There's a way through it, and I'm not going to accept that this is it. And I think that's an important thing. I think we have to do. It might be that, yeah, you've got these symptoms, but there's got to be a way that you can tell yourself that there's things that I can do to get myself through things, whether that's going to be how you're looking at things in your mind and your thoughts, the things that you're telling yourself, because sometimes, yeah, having a chronic illness comes with a lot of negative thoughts, negative thoughts about yourself, having negative thoughts about how you feel others are perceiving you as well. And sometimes that's the thing that you might have to be working on, and that's what you've got to get through. So, I think you have to just kind of constantly be telling yourself, yeah, I've got this thing, but I'm going to get through it. I'm going to see what I can do with this thing so that I can make my life better, and not let this illness, this description of this thing that you have, rule you. So I think acceptance is a big thing, but acceptance doesn't mean that you're quitting. Acceptance doesn't mean that, oh, I accept that this is what it is. I've got these symptoms forever, and I just have to live with it. And that's not what Michael J. Fox has said. That's not what he's saying. It doesn't mean that you have to kind of look at this, that you're like, yeah, I just accept that this is what it is. Instead, yeah, look at it as, yeah, I have this thing, and it's called whatever it's called, and it is what it is when it comes to that. But there's a way you can get through it. You can get through it. And that might mean that you have to make changes to your life. It might be lifestyle, it might be diet, it might be exercise, it might be meditation, it might be, the simple thing, like making very small changes with your diet, making very small changes with the way that you move, and making changes with the way that you think, and the way that you perceive yourself, and giving yourself a break. Yeah, so this is about really not having to accept that it is what it is, but using acceptance in that way of, like, I accept that I have this disease, and there's things that I can do for me to make myself feel better. There's things that I can do to get through this disease. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish it there. But yeah, that quote's really kind of stood out to me, and I'm going through the same thing, and I've had doubts the last few months as well, because I've battled the other things, and then you get something else thrown at you, and then you kind of go through that kind of stage, and all the thoughts kind of start bubbling around in your head, and then you've got to, for me, it was about pull yourself together. Come on. So, okay, I can only walk for a minute, because there was one stage I couldn't walk at all, but like now I'm getting to the stage where I'm going out for walks, and I'm able to walk now for about 20 minutes, whereas 5-6 weeks ago 5 minutes was all that I can do. That was it. But I've had to have this mindset and think to myself, there's a way through this. take some baby steps and you're going to get there. You know, see that there's hope. Yeah, have faith in what I'm doing and I'm going to get there. Anyway, let's finish it there. So I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll be back on here very soon. You take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.